Health is honestly a miracle in this experience of existence. The vastness of health surpasses the bodily sensations experienced by an individual being. Health is connection. It is the miracle of a felt expansion. It is beyond the mind's comprehension the grace we have to live in the miracle of health, the safety to learn to allow the flow of life. Health is a collective choice we make in healing. It is feeling safe to perceive, accept, and love our dying and living selves. Safe to let go and safe to nurture. Fertile soil, a perfect point of reference for health. Welcome to episode 12 of Meeting Myself. Health is worth life. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back and tuning in. If you're new, please look around your screen. I'm pretty sure there's a red subscribe button somewhere there. Tap on it, join us, and let's take in and then experience another meeting with myself. In today's meeting, I wanted to discuss, as you have seen on the thumbnail, how health has been worth life for me. Like the experience of health, as I have taken it upon myself to define the concept more consciously, the experience has been worth life. Like it has made life worth living and worth experiencing from my perspective, of course, because I guess sometimes when life is hard, it's hard to perceive that it's worth your presence, you know. And actually, when you start to expand your understanding of health and understanding that health is not just all good and dandy and positivity, it's actually going into the dark, going into the wound and working with it to give it what is missing. When you realize that healing is actually that process and not necessarily, or health is actually that process and not necessarily just being happy all the time or not sick all the time, then life as an experience starts feeling worth it, you know. At least for me it has. And so I guess I wanted to talk a little bit about that. You know, the first thing on my agenda is always definitions. I have quite a number for today's episode, and without wasting time, let's get through the definitions that I found relevant for this conversation today. The first word that I needed to define is health. Health, the state of being free from illness or injury. I love that health as a concept is a coming into, you know, it's a freedom, it's a expansion, it's a process, it's a journey. It's not like this destination that the society keeps insisting it is, you know. And then I have the term heal, which means cause to become sound or healthy again. So health is experienced through healing. It's so interesting how like this one concept can stretch around and show itself in so many different ways, and how it lives in so many different ways. It feels like a flower, you know. It feels like just the dimensional experience of a flower. So it's to cause to become sound or healthy again. The next word I have is worth. Sufficiently good, important, or interesting to be treated or regarded in the way specified. So health is sufficiently good and important, or even interesting, to be treated or regarded in the specific way. You need to treat if your health is worth life is what you're here to do, then the worth of your health and the worth of your life literally need to be, you know, needs to, I don't know, it needs to be a balanced experience, your health and your life. You know, you need to look at your life in the way that you need to look at your health in the way that you look at life, as an ongoing process. And when you look at things like that, it allows you to surrender and let go and accept what is. And sometimes what is that you're angry, or what is that I have fucking hemorrhoids, you know. That is what is. And learning about learning about how I can heal, what causes hemorrhoids and stuff like that. That's me treating my health like it is worth my life. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. Let's move on to another word: wound. An injury to living tissue caused by a cut, blow, or other impact, typically one in which the skin is cut or broken. This generic definition of what a wound is very about material perception, like perceiving things that are material, perceiving an actual wound. We have an energetic way of perceiving things, and I think that's where our emotions come to play, our ability to be empathetic and stuff like that. And we do incur blows and cuts on those. That is living tissue. Energy is living. Is it tissue? I don't know what tissue actually entails. I'm quite curious, but energy is life. It's frequency, and our energies sometimes incur wounds and take blows and stuff like that. Not sometimes, very often, in a society that is literally built on narcissistic traits. There's no avoiding it. There's only experiencing it, being aware, and trying to not experience it. That's really it, literally, in my brain at least. The next word I have is life. Life, the condition that distinguishes animals and plants from inorganic matter, including the capacity for growth, reproduction, functional activity, and continual change preceding death. This condition we are in, us and I guess plants and animals, we get into this condition called life. And this condition basically allows us to grow, some of us to reproduce, to be functional, and to change continuously. Like, I really don't like people who can't perceive change for themselves. Like, I don't like people who are just like, oh, I'll never change my mind on this. It's just shut the fuck up, bitch. I'm sorry. But like, I'm just like, we are in this condition where change is, because that's the thing about life. Life is about change, it's about growth, it's about reproduction. And I don't like this term reproduction because it assumes replication, and there is no such a thing. Literally, even the same group plants will never be the same. Like, there's no two pieces of grass that look the same. There's no two humans on earth that look like, it just is literally impossible under nature to replicate like that. So I guess the term reproduction also just, I can see it's causing me to have qualms with English. But yeah, that's what life is about. It's that experience of growing, which we're all experiencing the moment we land here, of reproduction. Literally, actually, we do produce. It's not even some people that have the ability to do that. You will say that, of course, if you have a very limited perspective on what reproducing is. Like, me writing a poem is a reproduction. That's a creation of self. You know what I mean? So we're here to do those things, to function, to change things. Like, people who say this is just how the world is, and how it's like, are you fucking for serious? We're not here to settle for that. We're not here to be below men forever. We're not here to struggle and like give our lives away just so we can eat food that grows. We're not here for that. If you are here for that, man, like, that's your own baby. I'm not here for that, you know. I'm here to change the fact that people think that. I'm here to change the fact that I think that, because you guys taught me so badly that I have to, you know. And I'm here to change that belief, you know. I'm not an experience a new one, birth a new one out of that change. That's what I'm here for, not sameness and regressiveness. Oh, I don't know, that doesn't give life to me. If that's life to you, doing the same thing over and over and over and over, that's life. I just want to say nyamangas. Yeah, that's kind of all the words I have today. So the next part of this conversation is my old conceptualization of health, my personal health particularly. I wrote some points that I will get into. It's the responsibility of those. It is the responsibility of those carrying higher authority than mine to understand, access, cure, and treat. That's what I used to think of health. I used to think my health is in the hands of a doctor or my mom. So basically, when I don't like what I feel, and then they sort it out. They tell me, take this, and that's like, I think that's fair for a child, but I'm not a child anymore, so I had to snap the fuck out of that. I get that doctors have studied. I get that my mom is grown and she knows and she's lived. But I'm the one in my body. I'm the one experiencing what I'm experiencing. I'm the one who, in my opinion, has the ultimate authority. And my authority consists of consulting with external sources, but ultimately discretion is in my hands, and I never used to have that in my old perception of or conceptualization of health. So yeah, that's the first thing. The second thing is my ability to function at the bare minimum, engage my chores, responsibilities, and relate to others without objection or an unfavorable response. So that's what I used to think health is. I used to think health is everyone agreeing with the things that I'm saying, like us, not even just me. Like, if we're engaging, we have to come together. We have to, like, literally try to align whatever consciousness comes out of our hearts and minds, and we need to know how to reach I say favorable, but favorable means mutually acceptable for me. So I used to think that, like, that is a must. Like, people need to, if you're gonna talk to me, let's talk through the whole thing. And some people don't want to understand, they don't want to listen, and I used to, like, pour so much of my energy in believing that they must, because that's health for me. Health included a proper perspective, but I didn't need other people to do that. It's enough that I do that. It's more than enough. And they show, like, experiencing that people didn't necessarily view health in that perspective necessarily the same way as I did, taught me that it was more than enough that I viewed it that way. That was very much enough, you know. So I used to think that. I used to also think thinking things, don't believe everything you think. Just know what you think and know whether you believe it or not. So face your thoughts, guys. Those things, they just grab onto you and they attach and they act like you. And then you now are your thoughts because you believe them. And some of them are limiting you. Anyway, so just being able to wake up in the morning, wash up and go to work or go to school or go to whatever I have to go to, that for me used to mean I'm healthy. I have people around me, I conversate with them, and I'm always trying to get to that point when I engage them. So if I'm just functional as a human in the criteria of society, I used to think, oh, okay, sharp, let's go. I never used to know that, like, I am feeling anxious. I didn't know. Like, if I felt anxious and I could, like, for instance, let me say, like, I used to, if I get called out by my parents or something, like they're telling me to stop, my mom, I would like stomp my feet out of frustration and like as a kind of a tantrum, depending on whether I feel whatever happened was fair or not. And my mom hated that I did that. So she shouted at me, or I don't know if she hit me for it, to a point where I learned to stop doing that. So I would experience this unfair experience and then just suppress my personal and genuine and authentic expression of my frustration, you know. And then so I would suppress that, and I learned how to do it, and eventually that stuff sticks, like it stuffs down into you. And then I don't know that I'm an angry person. I don't know that I didn't know that. I thought it was healthy for me to be able to pull those emotions together and not act the way that will get me hit or shouted at. So my understanding of health was very much spoken to by an experience of society that was very unjust, which is bound in a narcissistic society, I guess. I keep telling myself that, but at the same time realizing that some people didn't really have to face, like they were born into environments where there was awareness about the narcissistic traits of our society, so people who were mature enough to raise them. And I guess we just all have our plates here on this earth, bro. And that was mine. What else did I used to think of health? I used to absence of sensation of unease or unwell. So yeah, so if I can suppress my anger, if I can suppress my frustration, yeah, basically if I can do my best to not share negative emotions, thought of myself as healthy. My dad didn't like me crying, and he didn't like it from me as a child. And this is wild considering that my name is like crier. It's so wild that like I'm an extremely sensitive person, and I was legit like I don't even want to say forced, but like indoctrinated to numb my senses. You know, my dad used to tell me that children don't get angry because they understand the fundamental truth that the parent only wants what's good for them. And from there, I never allowed myself to get angry because that makes so much sense. Until you learn that your parents are still kids in big bodies that don't even know what your best interest is. It's so crazy. But yeah, that's basically what happened. My idea of health was excluded negative emotion, or at least expression of such. It excluded allowance for contradictory perspectives. It consisted of also just like what do you call this, no sense of autonomy, or like just zero trust in myself, you know, in some ways. In terms of my physical health, I never took it upon myself to care for my own physical health. So my experience of health was very tricky in the past. Next I want to talk about why I needed to expand my definition and experience of health. I could not feel the worth of life. My life felt worthless. Like it was so normal for me to ask people like, what am I here for? Like, what are we here for? What are we doing here? Like, and I get it, sometimes life sucks so much that you ask that, but for me it was a norm at some point. Like, life just felt pointless. Nothing I was experiencing felt like what I was choosing or what I wanted for myself. It just, like, you know when life feels like it's happening to you? Yeah, life doesn't feel like it's worth it. I didn't feel joy about life, and I wasn't even conscious to know that like this is what life is about. So with my old conceptualization of health, I didn't even know like that joy was an experience of health. Like I didn't know shit about emotions. I just knew that I didn't like the negative ones and the positive ones just happened. And you know, when you're just living on autopilot, guys, okay, I know it's trauma that causes this, but yeah. And then I felt disadvantaged and helpless. Yeah, so I really felt like helpless. I felt like I just, everything was against me. Like, you know, when, for instance, my brain, I have a neurodivergent brain, and I used to feel stupid because of how some of my results would come out without really paying mind or awareness to what was causing me to struggle, you know. So it's like, so yeah, I felt like stupid. Basically, you feel stupid. You're not that, like, I wasn't like really stupid, like, because I was always like passing, always doing the enough to never like feel, not, I'll say never, but there were people who felt way more insecure than me, who had way worse marks than me. So I never felt the need to even experience insecurity. I was just like, oh, okay, I'm fine. Because my emotions for me were processed from my brain. Also, that's another thing. That's the thing, I was living on autopilot. I was living through my defense mechanism. I was living with my brain. Just that's all. And I mean, thanks, brain, but my heart's been here all along to help with the heavy lifting. And I'm very grateful to know that now. I feel less disadvantaged now and less helpless. I felt also anxious and depressed. I did not feel good in my life, in my mind, in my body. I remember like experiencing this dude. I think he actually sexually I think, what do you call it? He assaulted me sexually, and I formed a trauma bond to that man. I remember like fighting myself from needing him to contact me, and I remember that's how I started to smoke weed more. When I was high, I could be in my life a bit better. I wasn't consistently thinking about this person who I'm bonded to, and it's just an awful experience. When I was high, I could just focus on other things, and I formed a dependency on weed. One that I don't judge myself for, but I'm explaining how that limited perspective on health manifested in my life, how it got me dealing with my things in a certain way. So like essentially I was medicating, but I wasn't aware of that. Also, I was doing it with so much shame. And it's just like a lot, man. It's a lot to not really understand the vastness of health as a concept and an experience. And the last point I have here is, okay, I formed dependencies and coping mechanisms on multiple things that I am working through and trying to have healthy connections and interests and investments into the things that I do like, that are benefiting me. I'm doing the work of re-looking at those things and being patient and kind and understanding and accepting of myself as I do that is very, very vital. I saw a video, I think yesterday, about how we compartmentalize our health. Literally, there's physical health there's mental health there's spiritual health there, and I think this is a direct result of experiencing a society where those things are segmented. We have churches for spirituality, we have hospitals and doctors for your physical whatever. We have gyms, it's very, I don't know how society can reimagine like structuring a holistic perspective on life and just experiencing life, but I think we're gonna go there, definitely. Actually, we need to. It's not beneficial to segment your experience of life like that. People are born into society where things are segmented, and then they start to treat themselves like that. And I used to treat myself like that until I understood that like it's all one thing. My health includes my emotional state, my health includes my body, my health includes my mental state, my health includes my environment, it includes the people around me. Literally, like it's just, health is worth life. And literally that's why I needed to expand my perspective so I could live. I feel like I had survived a context of a society, or a society that was embedded with, not had survived, I feel like I survived a society, an experience, and a perspective of my own that was very limiting on everything, on health, on limiting of me. I survived my perspective that was limiting of me, and I did that because I didn't want to survive anymore. I wanted to start living a perspective of myself that I choose. So that means I have to create one. I have to see what caused the perspective I have of myself now, the limiting perspective that I had of myself, what caused that, and what do I do to start working through and changing that. And that brings me to where I'm at, my current conceptualization and experience of health. So I have points for this one as well. Health is relating to all as one and with and from love. The outer world is all your perception of it. It's all your perception of it. So when the outer world hurts you, that hurt is yours. That pain is yours. Own it. Say, this thing hurt me. Don't shy away. Own it and act from acknowledgement and acceptance of your pain and your hurt. I don't do that anymore. Like, I'm very much valid in myself. Like, well, not extremely, but I'm actively working on that, and that's what my new perspective on health is causing me to do, to relate to all as one and with and from love. So if all is me, I can trust what I'm experiencing about all. I can trust that all is hurting me. I can trust that. I can face that because it is me. Anyway, yeah, so that is how I've experienced health. That's my first point. My second point is a mind and ego that is expansive and flexible. So the ability to change my mind. I used to think, like I said, people need to agree with me because I know and it makes sense. But people are stupid, guys. Come now. And that's okay. That's okay. You can't, this is so beautiful. You can't get smart if you're not stupid. Like, you can't experience your perspective can't expand, it can't be flexible if it's not rigid and constricted yet. So it's really fine that people don't agree with me. Y'all are dumb as fuck anyway. I'm joking. Do you see how it's so freeing now, my experience of health as a whole? A body that is nurtured, accepted, and flexible and sensual. So basically, nurturing my body personally just means, and I say just as if it's not that deep, and it's so deep, because I was saying on TikTok the other day how when I was washing my face, I started to feel like I was taking care of a car. And then I realized that I really value this vessel I'm in, I don't think I'd value a car this much. I wonder, but I don't think so. So I nurture my body. I do my self-care. I work out, like I do like challenges and just to see what my body can do. Right now I'm like heavily on like squatting. I'm trying to see what my bum can look like. I'm gonna start like doing like weights and stuff because I crave to see muscles on my body. Do you see what health does? You just chala and you experience, you enjoy the process of life, you know. That's what health has been doing for me in terms of my perspective and experience. Yeah, an accepted body. So because body is changing, like my body is constantly changing, I'm still like toying and like not really, I don't feel stable and fine with the concept of accepting my body. I think maybe I still associate body with weight, and my body's probably more than that. Maybe looking at that will help me, but just accepting my body as it changes is a bit hard sometimes, you know, because I remember the other day, I was my day before my period and my boobs were like and I didn't realize why, but I didn't feel comfortable with that. So yeah, that's stuff to look into, you know. And look at me, I can look into my feelings now effortlessly, knowing very well it's not the end of the world, you know. Never used to be able to do that. So yeah, that's health. Health is a body that is nurtured, accepted, flexible, and sensual. For me, that's what my body is, and that's what I need it to be for me to deem it healthy. Health is also access to my heart and accepting presence and sensation. Yeah, health is also access to my heart and accepting of presence and sensation. I just made a perfect example about my boobs when I was like, I have access to my heart. I don't run away from discomfort. I look at it. When I don't feel good, I'm like, well, you don't feel good? Because your feelings, your heart space is literally your, what do you call it? What do you call that thing when you're about to set up a manual? Your heart space is a manual. When it does this, open your fucking ears. Not the literal ones, but open your fucking ears. Listen. So yeah, I've had access to it and I feel like I have the best manual in the world. It's sometimes hard for me to even understand, but I'm here for it. I'm enjoying how the pieces come together. I love it. I don't feel scared, which is one thing that was just dominant in my life when I had a limiting perspective on health. The last point I have in that regard is the ability to be aware and conscious of the unknown and the unconscious. So for me, that is to... I said this to my friend once. My friend asked me what I look for in people, in my friends, because it seemed like I wanted people to always agree with me. I said to her that I expect my friends to know what they are talking about, and if they do not know, to know that they do not know, because personally I'm impactful and I think of everything I engage with, human energy, as impactful to me. It's impacting me, and I personally don't want people who don't want to face the impact they are having around my life. I don't want it, because that's how you end up causing harm and not even seeing, just like consistently. That's literally how this society is built. Just people saying they know stuff that they don't know. Men are not above women. Resources aren't scarce. What else? Heterosexuality is not the natural way. What else? Sex is not binary. Like, this whole world is just older people are not smarter. Like, people with degrees are stupid. Like, come on, guys. For me, I'm just like, I want people around me who have the ability to be aware and conscious of the unknown and the unconscious. And it's so crazy to say be aware of the unknown.
It's crazy, but it's, for me, that's the person that's the person I am, the person that I want to be. Because for me, that's a healthy person, like a person who can you. Do you know how people are just pretentious and they have answers for everything? I feel like human beings, even, it's exceptionalism. Humans have that thing, exceptionalism. We feel like we are the most divine life form here on earth, generally. That's why we're fucking harming earth. If you think you know everything, are you gonna go through any process? No. Your thinking has already preceded you. Now you just done, So life needs to be the experience of coming into knowing consistently. And when you are aware of the unknown, even to yourself, of yourself, you allow yourself to go through that experience of walking into the unknown and like just living in the unknown, like just embracing each day as it comes, each moment, because each moment is literally just fresh, yeah. That's about it. I wanted to conclude by having that like genuine, like just sharing my genuine thoughts and immediate feelings around just the experience, the concept. And yeah, so health has allowed me to firstly create miracles. Health has allowed me to be a paradox, to live in the magic, to how to break the binary, the black and white, to play in the gray. It has allowed me to learn that I can sit in feminine energy, in the powerful essence of feminine energy, and that I can trust the masculine energy that is within me to literally carry me through the existence that I'm in currently. Health introduced me to my personal energy and its potency and the magic it can create in my life. Like, health has been worth life. And like, it's like life now, my perspective of life now that I have expanded my perspective on health is one that I don't even feel like I want to define in a moment. My experience of life, my perception of life, I don't want to define it in a moment. I just want to be and experience it. And for the longest time, I wanted to grasp life as a concept in my head, when life is just here now, where I am, where my toes are in life, my fingers are here in life with me, my teeth are here in life with me. I don't have to conceive of life in my brain because of health. I can conceive of life in my body, because in my body I get joy. I can laugh my belly full. I can eat the best fucking food in the world. I can literally experience myself change a perspective and then see the world also change. Like, guys, health is literally magical. It's transformational. It's metamorphosis. All that being said, health has been worth life more than anything because it has granted me access to my heart space. And to know that I can live life from my heart space doesn't require me to store hectic information in my brain. It just requires me to breathe, to perceive,
to be here now, which I already am. So like literally, like, how awesome. I genuinely think health as an experience, as a concept, magical. It is worth life. It gives you access to your heart space, and I think it's a fucking privilege to be able to live from your heart space. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. It has been such a pleasure and ease to record. I will see you guys in my next one.